Welcome back to Pixel Project Radio. This is part 2 of our Clair Obscur Expedition 33 analysis. Been having a great time so far. I hope you loved episode 1. We've got a lot of good stuff in store today. I'm joined again by Thrak from the 3DO experience. Thrak, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. You decided to bring me back in, so thank you.
It's true. Your rates were just right.
0% APR.
So last time we left off at a bit of a weird spot, and that's my bad. That's on me. But we're picking it up today. Plan is to hopefully get a little bit into Act 2. We're starting here on the world map. I'm so glad that they did this. I love a good world map.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're going away. We don't see them as much anymore.
The world map here, it reminded me a bit of like the Tales series, you know, like where you have like, or even like older RPGs where you have like that overworld, you know, where you can kind of roam around and get to the next areas that you need to go to. Yeah, in some ways it could be going away. Because I also think of, say, like the Persona games where it's not really an overworld, it's just a bunch of connected areas. But yeah, I don't know, it reminded me a lot of the Tales series, like when Tales has their like open world map kind of things, you know?
I don't, because I've only ever played like 2 hours of Berseria, but maybe one day. No, this is great. I love how your characters are kind of small compared to all of the Nevrons around. I love how beautiful and colorful this world is, how expansive. It's fun to just explore. And you can find a lot of stuff on the world map too, like items, journals, merchants that you can fight. It's great.
It's fun to explore, and it's also like the right size. It's not too big. It's not too small. It has, just enough little secrets to that you can explore in, but also if you don't care about that and you just want to get to the next main area, it doesn't take you too long to get there.
And speaking of not long to get there, we're moving on to Flying Waters. This is our first biome we're going to. And that kind of reminds me, I don't know if you noticed this, but I'm a big fan of how varied all of the biomes are, all of the levels, set pieces, however you want to call it. They've all got their own distinct flavor and identity, and it makes exploring a lot of fun. This one is water themed. It's like we're underwater. There's coral reefs. There's nautical themed monsters. Not like, not like pirates, but they look kind of like fucked up fish.
Yeah. It does that thing where, you have all of like, oh, here's the water world, here's the some of the later ones, but I love the design of Flying Waters. Like, their use of colors is just absolutely gorgeous. And like all the different vegetation that just kind of exists throughout this biome it's incredibly gorgeous. Like it looks like a fish tank at certain points, but like a really cool fish tank.
Yeah. The music is nice too. It's much more lo-fi in this area. An upcoming boss that we'll talk about shortly starts off with like the lo-fi beats to Parry to, dodge and parry to. Coming up soon. That's a fan favorite. Well, we come up here, first of all, tons of dead expeditioners.
Yes.
This is a theme throughout the game. We're going to be seeing tons of the bodies of the fallen, of our former comrades. It gets to different characters more than others. Lune, for instance, is not particularly bothered by this. She very much succumbs to the when one falls, we continue. When, not if. Gustav is bothered by it a little bit. Maelle is the one that it really gets to her. And speaking of her, we're about to find her. Gustav and Lune, they come across this hut with an ornate door, and opening it sucks them in, like isekai style, and transports them to this grandiose Victorian-esque manor. What were you thinking the first time this happened? Because this is the first time we go to the manor, right?
Yeah, it's very early in the game, so like my expectations aren't really set yet for like what it's gonna do. But like when it sucks us into the manor, it's just like, oh, what is this new, interesting, exciting thing? That's basically just kind of what I was thinking was, oh, they're doing something different here, aren't they?
Yeah, more questions are being raised. We don't have much context into which we can place this manor. By the way, there was a fella standing outside watching us. We get a camera shot over his shoulder. He's observing us go into this manor. Interesting, too, the flag here is from our own expedition. It's 33. This is something we see throughout the game. The flags let us save. The flags let us upgrade our materials. They've always got the number of a former expedition. That's part of the game's identity, is looking back on the past, the weight of the past's actions influencing the present. The flags are from previous expeditions, the journals, obviously, the climbing, grappling, what do you call them? Stakes, handles. They were placed by former expeditions. This one is 33. So one of two things is going on here. Either Maelle is in here, or we've got some freaky deaky business going on.
Oh yeah, some freaky deaky stuff.
But it's not freaky deaky. Maelle is in here. It's a pretty quick reunion. It's quick and tender. Neither of them really expected Gustav or Maelle to find the other. This reunion worked better for me on a replay. I think first time through, we don't have tons of context into their relationship. This reunion happens pretty early on in the story, pretty quickly after they get separated. It hit a little harder on a replay, now that we know a little bit more about them.
Yeah, I could imagine so, because I only played through it the one time. So, like this early in the game, when you see some of that emotional stuff, it can be hard to really relate to it because the stakes just are not there yet. But yeah, I imagine on the second playthrough, it's much stronger.
Maelle doesn't know who wrote that message. This was at the end of the last episode. There was a message on a tree of some sort that said, "Took Maelle to the weird corals, head north, look for a door inside a hut." Mm-hmm. Maelle has no idea who wrote that, how it got there, or how she got here, as a matter of fact. All she knows is that she's here with the curator. And this is our first interaction with this thing. I was going to say fella, but I don't think that's quite right. Let's talk about the curator.
Yeah, what a fantastic design, really. With the gaping hole where the face should be.
Yeah.
And then when it talks, it's just like, and then they know exactly what they're talking about or whatever. That's a very common thing you'll see in fantasy or sci-fi, is where like people are talking like weird languages, but then the English language person is like, "Oh, I know exactly what you're saying." Like, of course I speak Wookiee, of course, you know. So, but yeah, just a really striking character that just sits with this consistently striking like art design for me.
Very clearly not a Nevron, and Lune kind of observes this as well. She says that his chroma is different than all of the other Nevrons. So what is this thing? We don't know just yet. I agree, though, the striking visuals, the face that has been sort of carved out, it almost looks like if this were like a replica wax figure and a child in their, childish fervor just grabbed the face and ripped the putty off. It looks almost like that.
And it has like, I don't know, maybe like a tinge of like Tolkien influence, like maybe just a teeny bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that kind of Ringwraith-esque.
Yeah, I was getting kind of Ringwraith vibes. Yeah.
The curator is going to give us a battle tutorial here. This on my replay, by the way, this wasn't the first time I got rocked in one hit. Like that was actually with Maelle in the very beginning, but I just wasn't paying attention, and the curator just rocked my shit on a replay. New Game Plus, everything is stronger. It's pretty wild, but it's funny. I'm sourcing audio from Let's Plays on YouTube, and it's so quaint to see hits doing 80, 100, 400 damage. Meanwhile, everything on mine is well over 100,000 always. Yeah. The curator is going to give us a tutorial on how to jump. That's one of our evasive maneuvers. There's that little icon that will flash. Jumps are, with a few exceptions, they are always so easy to time and pull off, I think.
Yep. And they're my favorite as well, because not only are they the easiest to pull off, they're also the coolest to do, because most of the time it's your entire group jumping, and then when you succeed, you get to do a really big counterattack.
Yeah.
Where the whole group bashes them, which is always like a fun sight to have. And it also can shift the tide in a battle. Like if you're struggling a little bit, and then they decide to do a jump, you're just like, oh, bam, and then it's like, I'm back in it, baby.
Once we're done with him, we leave the manor. We also meet Monoco. This is going to be our first Gestral. Why don't we talk about the Gestrals once we get there in Gestral Village? What do you say?
Yeah. Let's save the Gestral talk for now.
Monoco's a little guy. To your point about the languages, they speak this kind of gibberish language that you're either hearing right now or you're about to hear, and everybody just knows exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, play it right now, editor.
Is that a Gestral? Stop that, you big hairy brush face.
Thank you.
Yeah, give that guy a raise. This moves on to, and by the way, Noko is a merchant. That's kind of his deal. He wants to be the best merchant ever. You can fight the merchants in this game, which I think is a fantastic idea for the real world too. I should be able to go to my local mom and pop store and look at the sweet, kind 68-year-old gentleman and throw down with him to get a discount on my candy bars.
But if you go up to like a food truck and you want to fight the chef, you're probably going to lose.
Oh, I'm going to get my ass rocked. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah. The more ethnic he looks back there, it's like I'm getting fucked. Like this is bad. It's like, okay, I'll pay the $12 for the chalupa. Okay, I'll pay.
Food trucks give you a buff to badassery. It's just part of the territory.
Oh yeah, and the food's always great.
The food's usually great. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. We move on forward. There's a city section of Flying Waters. It looks kind of just like where we were, just with more building-like structures. There's also this gigantic Nevron, humongous, that looks like he's got a foreskin on his face, that I've called the foreskin monster throughout here. Maelle,
I legit did not think that, but now that you mention it and I'm like looking at him, I'm like, yeah, that is exactly what it is.
It's exactly what he looks like. These things.
I think that means he's Greek.
Sure. Maelle says do not approach them at all costs. So I approach them with no cost. I go right into battle.
Jump right in.
I like these guys. Their gimmick is that they'll suck up with their foreskin. They'll suck up one of your characters. And until you break them, feel their stagger bar and then break them, you don't get that character. And they can, if you let the battle go on long enough without breaking them, they will suck up your whole party, and then that's it. It's game over.
Yeah, I was worried when that happened, because when he first sucks up one of your characters, my thought was, oh, is there like, maybe if I do a big enough move, or like I parry something correctly, he'll spit whoever right back out, but he never does. Yeah, you just kind of have to deal with it. Which I give the game credit for doing something that ballsy that early in the game. Like if you're not paying attention, you can get caught off guard and lose everybody real quick.
Totally. And, Maelle warns you not to go near it. You don't have to. You have to go out of your way to get to it. It's not so bad. Yeah. Like, his attacks are pretty... of course I gendered it as a he. The attacks are pretty...
You called them the foreskin monster.
Exactly. It's pretty easy to telegraph. He'll do combos like 3, 4, 5 hits, and his left arm and right arm are different speeds. Once you get that down, it's pretty simple.
I feel like this character is a good sort of like, not necessarily tutorial, but I think this is an early character to where you can kind of learn the parry system, where it's not like tutorializing it or being like, oh, where it stops the whole game and be like, oh, parry right here. It's like, it feels like this character is giving you the chance to really test out your skills to be sure that, oh, are you picking up on everything? Because with all the little random encounters you get before this, you don't have to parry most of the time because they're like fairly easy early enemies. But by the time you get to Mr. Foreskin, I'm just going to call him that now. This is like where the game goes like, hey, have you been parrying? Have you been, doing your due diligence? And if not, we're going to smack you. We're going to smack you down.
There is a brief moment of respite here. The crew comes to this grove of red flowers. Once again, color plays a big role in this game. Red, I can't remember if we mentioned this last time, even though I just finished the edit. Red represents home, right? It represents, for us, Lumiere, but it represents home. And this is going to become important pretty soon. This starts a boss fight. Go Blue is this boss. This giant Nevron jumps out. As soon as we touch the flowers, Lune points out, he attacks. Pretty simple fight. This has that badass boss music that starts off like lo-fi beats and goes into kind of a more groove. It's really cool. It's a very popular one. I'm wondering if you remember. I am right now, as we record this, I'm about halfway into Act 2. I can't remember for the life of me. Do they come back to this idea? Do they extend on the idea of touching the flowers is what pisses off Go Blue? I genuinely cannot remember if they do anything with that. I feel like I can draw some interpretations and infer things, but it feels opaque and hazy and maybe not what the writers intended, for whatever that's worth.
I don't think so. Like, I can't recall any sort of instance of, like, the flowers in Go Blue being, like, a legit thing. You know, it could just, if anything, it could just be a coincidence.
I think so. I think so. The reads that I have on it would entirely spoil, like, a lot of the game, so we can maybe come back to it if we remember. It's not the biggest deal.
Yeah.
Gustav wants to kill it immediately. Maelle and Lune kind of, interestingly, Maelle and Lune kind of reel him back, and Go Blue does get away. A little bit of a flip-flop roll there.
Mm-hmm.
And next up, I'm just going down like we're checking things off a list. Next, that's great podcasting.
Okay.
Patreon.com/pixelprojectradio.
Pixel Project
that
checklist.
That night at camp, we get Maelle's first nightmare. These nightmares are sick.
Yes.
I really like these.
Oh my god, yes. Like, this was probably my first, like kind of like almost like head turning moment. You know, like when the nightmare happens and the aspect ratio changes, and like it almost like it looks like the Snyder Cut almost. Though
Jesus.
I'm probably giving the Snyder Cut too much credit. And then it just does this very, like, to me, this is where the, like, European cinema influences really come into play. A lot of what they're doing, it feels like French New Wave. You know, if you've ever seen any French New Wave film.
What do you make of those aspect ratio changes? They go to like a 4:3, right?
Yeah. It's a 4:3. I like it. I mean, you could make the argument that, like, too much media and entertainment these days is doing 4:3 for, like, nostalgic reasons, but I don't think this game is doing that. I think it wants to sort of highlight the sharp contrast that Maelle's nightmares have to what is actually going on in the game. And it's a good way of showing that that major difference.
Sure. I can see that. It's also notable too when they go to 4:3, the screen crunches, it compresses into the center, and I don't know. I've experienced dreams both ways, where they feel sort of endlessly vast and wide and unfocused, but also very tight and small and insular, especially nightmares.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that constricted feeling is what they were intended here. It very well could just be an artistic choice, and it doesn't have to mean anything deeper than that. And that's fine.
But now that you mention that, I think it's true. I think, thinking about the nightmares, they have like a claustrophobic sort of feel to them, and that whenever you see them, it almost feels like Maelle is sort of just like kind of trapped in her own thoughts. So maybe that squishing of the screen is meant to convey that. But I didn't think about that until you brought it up.
And that's part of what nightmares are, right? Nightmares and dreams are a collection of waking thoughts, both conscious and unconscious. That I've heard it said that it's our brain's attempt to organize things so we don't go insane. And I think that's a bit of a poetic reading, but I do like it. And speaking of that, you know, unconscious and conscious thoughts, let's talk about the nightmare. It's black and white again. That is important.
Does it feel like the frame rate changes?
That I don't know.
Okay, because there was something about, like, the movement in the nightmares that feels different to the movement in the normal cutscenes.
I mean, again, that happens to us in dreams, right? Movements feel stilted and jerky.
Or it's like almost like more smooth. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it could be just my mind playing tricks on me, but to me, it was just even the way things were sort of moving within these nightmares just felt different than what was happening in the normal gameplay.
I'm going to come back. I have a note on black and white later. I'll come back to it in a more dramatic scene, but it's in black and white, 4:3 aspect ratio. Someone that looks vaguely like Maelle in the way that, like, you know, animation avatars kind of all look similar, you know, standing there sword in hand, about to fight this mysterious man. Medium length hair, a blonde, white streak. They're both covered in blood, maybe dirt, grime, detritus, blood. The Maelle that we know collapses to the ground. She's clutching a ribbon of some sort, it looks like, cloth, and screams at the paintress, who is just looming large in the background.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a lot of context into which we can place some of these images, but very soon we will. Because this is, I mean, in retrospect, this is a beautiful, unconscious display of that angst and that anxiety that Maelle is feeling, even though she can't place it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a nice little scene here. There are a lot of scenes of character interactions where they're just sort of developing these characters as people. We're obviously not going to touch on every single one, but they're very nice. They're very lovely. I'm a big fan. The older I get, the more I'm a fan of things in media, books, literature, stories that don't just advance the plot, that kind of flesh out the world, you know?
World building.
Yes, I've heard it called, yeah.
Yeah. World building, lore, all that good stuff, yeah.
They've got a nice bit of dialogue here. It's a little long, what with the actual dialogue and the pauses and whatnot, so I'm just going to read it, maybe paraphrase just a smidge, but here's some of what they say. Maelle says, "Death out here isn't like death in Lumiere, is it? I thought I was used to losing people, life of a foster child, right? But not like that on the beach." Gustave replies, "That's the insidious thing about the gommage. It's predictable, almost gentle. It makes Lumiere complacent and accepting, but death is just as violent. Death is final." You know, he comforts her insofar as assuring her that she's not alone in feeling total dread.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what they're going on is a very sort of dreadful sort of journey. So I think it's safe to have those feelings, but, you know... But it's an interesting way. It's an interesting way of comforting her, being like, "Hey, same."
Yeah, he's not going to bullshit her.
Yeah, which I respect.
There's also a back and forth here where they kind of poke fun at a JRPG trope, where she calls him an old man, and he says something like, "Hey, you know, it wasn't that long ago when 33 was considered young," and she's just like, "Yeah, okay, sure." I love that. I love that, dude.
I mean, that is interesting to think about, because like in this universe, you and me would be considered old.
Oh, totally. You go back
and
to
not like the jokey old way we do, where it's like once you're like 22, you're like, "Oh, I'm old as fuck," right? Like, no, like
that really bothers me. It's something. It's become like a pun. Like, you know, millennials will be like, "Oh yeah, my back's starting to hurt and my knees are going out." It's like, I don't understand this obsession with wanting to race to the grave. We are still really young. I mean, 30 is not old. I'm 32. 32 is not that old. And it feels like so many of my peers want to just race into the retirement home.
I mean, I will say my back does feel old, but, you know, I guess to get personal, it was like a year ago. I was out bowling, and when I was doing the movement on one of the frames, I did something to my back, and it's never been the same.
Yeah, back pain and tooth pain are the two worst imaginable things to happen.
It's not even necessarily pain, it's just sore a lot of the time. Like,
sure.
I just have to, like, if I don't do like 5 minutes of stretching, I'm just going to be sore the whole day.
Well, yeah. But hey, we're still young. It's this confusing and perplexing thing. I don't know why. Anyway, but I do like it. I mean, you look at Final Fantasy X, Auron looked like he was in his mid-50s and he's like 35, you know?
Yeah, well, that's on the game because, I mean, they give him like a gray streak in his hair. He has wrinkles on his face. Yeah. You know, he looks older. He does.
It's cool. I appreciated that little jab at that.
Yeah.
This is also where the curator becomes our upgrade hub. We go to the curator if we want to up our resources, give our characters Lumina points, and upgrade their weapons, which you can upgrade to level, of course, 33.
It's such a weird thing for them to do with the curator, isn't it? Like, you see this like really striking image of this character, right? And then it's just like, oh, if you just want to like upgrade your Luma points, go talk to him. And it's like, wait, that's all he is? Like, he's not like more important than that? You know, he's just like a borderline like Resident Evil 4 merchant.
If I were in that group too, I'd be pretty pissed at him because he, instead of sitting out with the rest of us in camp, he chose the most recessed, dark, ominous cave in our campsite and just hangs out there.
And also, he's pretty powerful. It's like, wouldn't you want him to help you fight a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think. Thankfully, he doesn't want to fight us, so that's nice.
No, yeah, that's nice, yeah.
This is also where the social links are brought up for the first time. They're not like... they're more like...
They're not called social links, though, are they?
Oh, wait, no, this is not where the social links come up. Never mind. But there are like social links. No, they're not. I think they're just called relationship levels.
Yeah. We've played Persona. We can just say social link.
Yeah, it's nothing like the Persona social links where you have to do like, you know, answer correctly to get relationship points.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's nice enough. I didn't max out any of these on my first playthrough. I'm trying to this time. But they're nice. I really like them. We can't touch on all of them. They're very pleasant. Very cool.
Oh, yeah. They're fun.
So now we get directed by Noko to go to the Gestral Village, the ancient sanctuary. We're going to go and try to get help from the village chef, as she is known, Golgra. Okay, let's talk Gestrals.
Yes.
So we get to this Gestral Village. Very, very red. Lots of red color here. Well, lots of color in general, but a lot of red foliage, a lot of red colors in the Gestrals' art and buildings and hair. Really neat. Gestral. Let's talk Gestrals. They are, you know what they make me think of, actually? Have you ever seen the, like, stock images for, like, acting where there's, like, that wooden doll, wooden man figure where you can see the joints?
I can't recall.
You could probably find it on, like, clip art or Google if you just search wooden figure acting. But they kind of look like that. They're made of what looks like wood, like tree wood, natural wood, and shaped together in vaguely human shapes. Some are fat, some are tall and skinny, lanky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got some chunky boys. We got some lanky boys. We got some tiny ones, some big ones. Like they're a very diverse set of wooden beings.
Right, and they've all got hair that looks like a paintbrush. I think the name Gestral comes from two different things. Gesture, it's a distortion of the word gesture, which is what you do with paintbrushes, right? To paint, you paint gestures, you make gestures. It's also very similar to the word Gestalt, which means form, roughly means form in German. It can mean like the form of something, the whole of something. Here's an interesting factoid that I found today on simplypsychology.org, which, as far as I can tell, is reputable. And sourced properly. I guess there's I don't want to say movement, I guess there is a subsect of psychology called Gestalt psychology, and I copy and pasted something from Simply Psychology. I want to read it. They say, Gestalt psychology is a school of thought that seeks to understand how the human brain perceives experiences. It suggests that structures, perceived as a whole, have specific properties that are different from the sum of their individual parts. For instance, when reading a text, a person perceives each word and sentence as a whole with meaning rather than seeing individual letters, and while each letter form is an independent individual unit, the greater meaning of the text depends on the arrangement of the letters into a special configuration. For that reason, the Gestalt laws are appealing not only to psychologists but also to visual artists, educators, and communicators. I think that's really fascinating because it's tough to talk about this without spoiling stuff, but that applies to this game and our party's situation very heavily. Especially just keep in mind as you're going through this series, listener, keep in mind that this is important to visual artists. And this applies to everybody. We've got so many things happening in the game with the Paintress, with the Gestrals, with the Expeditioners, with the Nevrons, and the individual parts are each their own unique situation. But there is a greater whole that we learn at the end that makes that is greater than the sum of its parts. And it's so fascinating. It's so fast, this idea of Gestalt psychology and and how it ties directly into this. And the art angle is particularly nice because that's going to come up a lot later too.
Yeah, I feel like something like Gestalt psychology does make sense in a more sort of like abstract, artful way. Because if I'm trying to, say, relate it back to what, psychology does, which is, like study people's like mental health, right? I think the idea is it's trying to perceive like someone's whole life as like the whole thing, right? Instead of breaking it down to like, oh, you had like here and here were like, the problem parts. It's trying to kind of see the whole thing, which I mean, I can understand that for sure. But I don't know if I'm thinking about it maybe in like a clinical way, I feel like it could have some, it might not work as well, but I don't think Gestalt psychology is something that like, therapists are testing on patients. I could be wrong, but that's just my immediate reaction to it. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. It's just I'm just thinking of like, but how would it help people's like mental health kind of a thing?
Sure. Yeah. I'm not a specialist. It struck me as less of a methodology of an approach to practice, so much as just a theoretical lens through which you can view existing practicing techniques. Not dissimilar to music theory, composers don't think about that shit when they're writing. It's only the theorists that come after that put words to the techniques. I don't know. I kind of saw it that way.
Yeah. That's probably the way to think about it. It's just, my psychology degree started poking out a little bit. I'll put it away.
Oh, you have a psych degree.
I do. Yeah, I have a Bachelor of Sciences in Psychology.
Oh, well, geez. I
don't do jack shit with it.
Well, hey, that's the average millennial experience, man. I love capitalism.
It's a whole thing, yeah. I use my other degree more.
We see the young boy here for the first time. This young boy looks strikingly similar to the creator, except less horrific nightmare and more
childlike even.
Literally just looks like a child, but in that same grayscale, smoky aura, and notably no face. Just like the curator, that plucked out face.
Yep.
And throughout the game, we'll see more of these. Generally, they'll only talk to Maelle, which is fascinating. Here, I think they talk to whoever. But this young boy says something strange, as far as we can tell. He says, "Another expedition? Me? A dream? An illusion? I don't really remember what I did all this for. I miss laughing with everyone. What were their names? Why do I forget? Everything is washed away." We'll learn those names.
Stay tuned.
The Gestrals sound the alarm. They think we're the Neverons.
Who did
I don't see
I
any.
think they mean us.
They must be Gestrals. They're cute, but they're idiots.
Oh, fuck.
And this is where Maelle spends a not insignificant amount of time shit-talking the Gestrals and calling them dolts, dumb, dense, morons, buffoons, goofuses. Maelle would unironically embrace
in a way, a little bit.
Maelle would unironically use clankers today, which that's a joke that's going to date this podcast to the month.
Oh, I get that joke. Clankers. I was going to mention, you know what the Gestrals remind me of? It doesn't make any sense, but they remind me of the Toads from Mario.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know why. Mainly it's the smaller ones. I don't know. I just get a thing from them. I don't know why.
Yeah, I could see that. They're vaguely humanoid. They have a lot of nervous energy sometimes. They are not very bright. That's true.
They're genderless.
Yeah. Oh, is Toad genderless?
Toad is genderless. Yes, that is confirmed by Nintendo.
Then what's up with Toadette?
Don't ask too many questions, okay?
This is going to lead us into a boss fight with their sakapatat. Roughly translates to potato sack.
Yeah.
You can, on a replay, or maybe you can go back, I don't know, a later character can get this ability, and it's one of their best abilities. It's crazy. More cool pitched percussion music throughout all this area. Not a big deal. We shortly get into another fight, though, with their ultimate Sakapatat, which has an even cooler boss theme. It's all not so bad, fighting-wise. They'll mess you up if you don't dodge and parry, but, not a crazy memorable boss fight for me.
Yeah, it's just I liked the name, but it was just just another boss kind of thing.
Did you explore the village very much?
Yeah, I did. Probably more than I wanted to, because to me, I felt the Gestral Village is where the sort of lack of any map kind of became an issue for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I wanted to explore the whole thing, but then at a point I did get lost, genuinely, and I completely forgot where I was, and I was like, man, it would just be so nice. They have the map in the overworld, which makes perfect sense that it unlocks as you keep going, because they're an expedition, they're creating the map, so it just makes more sense to me that even in these sections they would want to do that. Mm-hmm. Even if it was just for the Gestral Village, because it's set up in a way to where you want to keep going back to it as a friendly hub type of deal. So, but I did like it. It was a really nice area. There was a lot of fun things happening.
It might be my favorite location in the game. It's so funny. These Gestrals are a hoot. There's a doctor that just lays around and doesn't do shit because he's got like the SpongeBob disease. You remember the guy from SpongeBob where he's like, every day I wake up and I break my arms and then I break my legs until my heart attacks put me to sleep.
Yeah.
This
I have glass bones and paper skin.
Yeah, this doctor's like, my bones grow and break every day and it's so painful that, he's taken on this like nihilistic personality where he just doesn't help anybody.
I think I referenced that to myself when I was playing the game.
It's so good, dude. There's a philosopher one where he's like talking about how great his philosophy is, and we're like, okay, what is it? And he's like, well, you have to buy my books. That's what a philosopher is. You have to buy my books.
Hey, do you want to know how I got this 6-pack? Well, you need to buy my 6-week course by going to this link and then use the promo code to get 10% off. It's just a YouTube ad.
Only 10 monthly payments of $19.99. Golgra's hut is in the center of the village. Golgra is the chef, a.k.a. the chief. Gestrals, not very smart, clankers, etc., etc. Golgra's hut cracks me up. There's just a bunch of Gestrals in there doing push-ups around, like leading up to her, like in honor of her. It's great.
It gives me like a queen bee vibe.
Totally.
That they're all like workers serving the queen.
Oh, I thought you meant Beyonce.
Hey, if you want to view it that way, go right ahead. I won't stop you.
Golgra, you can fight Golgra, fun fact, and she is wickedly difficult. I still can't beat her, and I'm like high 80s.
I tried fighting her, I think it was like twice. And the first time I got really close, and I was like, oh, let me try it again. And I did worse the second time. So I was like, okay, never mind.
So Golgra, interestingly, Golgra knows the white-haired man. She doesn't know him, but she saw him come through. He's killed many Gestrals. The ones here managed to escape. Golgra is going to direct us to the legendary creature Esquie, whom Lune is very excited to meet. He'll take us across the sea because we don't have a ship. She gives us a password. The password is just "get out of my way." Yell it as loud as you can. It's pretty good. But to get there, to get the password, we have to participate in this tournament, this Gestral combat tournament. The Gestrals are big on fighting. That's like their whole deal. That's their life force. They love to fight.
They're Spartans.
Pretty much, yeah. So we've got to fight through 3 Gestrals with really good battle music.
Oh, yeah.
Bertrand Big Hands, Dominique Giant Feet, and Matthew the Colossus, who is the smallest of them all.
So cute.
And after them, the Stranger, a strong newcomer and their current champion. And it turns out it is Sciel.
Ah, my favorite.
She was an expeditioner that survived the beach. She jumps down off of a high overpass. She's bathing in the fame and glory that comes with raw strength and boisterous showmanship. And, it's a reunion. She's like, holy shit, I didn't know that you guys were alive. They hug, and the Gestrals are like, hey, what gives? What gives? We paid for a fight. What gives?
Hey, come on, why don't you beat each other up, boy?
The pro strat is to pick Maelle for this fight. Whoever wins gets a special weapon. Maelle's weapon, I admit I have moved on, but I used it almost constantly. It starts you in her Virtuoso stance, which is just a crazy thing to have, because Maelle has abilities that will keep her in Virtuoso stance. This is such a good weapon.
The way, you should set her up, for people who haven't played the game yet, you should try your best to set her up so she can be in Virtuoso as much as possible, because she'll do what, like 200% damage?
Mm-hmm.
Is that 200%.
Right?
Yeah. So, and trust me, later in the game, she, like, in Virtuoso, holy shit, she will do major damage. So try to set it up early.
Yeah, she whips ass. It's great. Speaking of mechanics, let's talk Sciel. What do you think about Sciel?
She's actually my favorite character.
Really?
I found myself maybe falling a little bit in love with her. Sorry. She's very gorgeous, but also I liked her sort of dynamic, because I think when you first get her, she uses like the dark ability, and so once I got her, I literally just had like Charlie's Angels set up. I just had the 3 girls. And went through a good chunk of the game with just the 3 of them. Like, I know she can be tricky to master, Sciel, especially later in the game. When I started struggling a little bit, I ended up having to pull her out because her defense is just really bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show up as really bad until probably closer to like Act 3-ish, or like near the end of Act 2. So for the most part, I was fine, but yeah, I really like her as a character. And for this like little moment in battle, I think she's really good. But she can be tough to keep consistently powerful with everybody else.
She was my first playthrough. She was my least used character by far. Now she is in my party a lot. She fights with cards. She uses throwing cards. And
It reminded me of Gambit a little bit. She even has a bit of a Gambit vibe.
A little bit, yeah. Or like Setzer from FF6. A little bit, but she's not like a gambler. Her and Lune both have the abilities that make me think of trading card games. So with Sciel, she deals in this marker called Foretell. You have special abilities that will add like counters to your opponent, like 1 Foretell, 2 Foretell, 10 Foretell. And Sciel's abilities then also let her consume those for extra damage. She also deals with counters of her own called charges. Different moves will get her 3 sun charges, 3 moon charges. And once you have one of each or more of each, you enter Twilight, which is a special state that just gives you buffed damage. So that's the strat for Sciel. Get her to Twilight as soon as possible, as long as possible. And man, if you do that, my Sciel right now, I found a weapon that lets every sun skill automatically apply 10 Foretell. So I'm just stacking Foretell. Once I'm in Twilight, she's just cleaning house. Twilight lets you add even more Foretell. I think the cap is 10, and for Twilight it's 20. Even though like I've applied over 30 at this point. I don't really know how it works. Sciel is really good.
Yeah, and she's I think your first character to have the like she can do like dark damage, and some of the enemies like right after are really weak to it. So and with her like area attacks, she can just like clean house. Like there was a certain point where I had it set up to where each of the my 3 party members just did like a full like area attack, and most of the time, like probably through the rest of Act 1, it would just clear out any enemies I was fighting.
Yeah. Sciel, her disposition, she's kind of gregarious. She's a little happy, not happy-go-lucky, but she's jovial. She doesn't take things too seriously until it's time to get serious. She's not
full
as
of moxie. She's full of moxie.
Yeah, she's spunky. She's not as dour as Lune and Gustav tend to be.
Yeah, that's probably why I liked her so much.
So you win. You beat her. She's part of the party now. Gustav says, no time to lose. We got to go. I appreciate also, just by the way, Gustav and Sciel will have a little conversation. I appreciate how this team doesn't need or feel the need to over-explain everything. Gustav and Sciel will be talking, and they make an inside joke about something called Aqua Farm 3. And Gustav will ask her, like, yeah, what have you been up to? And she just says, no, I don't really want to talk about it. And unless you do all of her side stuff, you don't learn about it, It's more realistic, it feels like less of a cop-out to, because especially with amateur writers, you see them feel the need to flex as much as they can and explain everything as a way to say, like, look at me, like, aren't my ideas really good? Versus something like this where they don't over-explain it and just let the world speak for itself. It's a nuanced and mature thing to do, and I don't know, I really liked it. I really appreciate it.
And it's something I've noticed in like JRPGs where some of them just talk a little bit too much.
Yeah.
This game has just the right amount of talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's not if you ever played Golden Sun, like my issue with that is that game talks way too freaking much. Like I got annoyed at certain parts.
Not everyone needs to be an expositorily open book for the sake of crafting a character.
Exactly.
So you get to camp. Everybody's giddy over the idea of meeting Esquie. Maelle falls into another nightmare.
The tales are true.
Do you feel something?
We see a white-haired girl for the first time. We learn her name in a moment is Alicia, and there's a familiar melody playing. So this is where I made the note about color. Consider the color. It's important. Color is what defines this world, this game, Lumiere, Clair, Obscur, both in the scope of visuals and the terminology. Remember, color, painting, gestrals, it's everywhere. A world without color, then, suggests the inverse. It suggests a world without verisimilitude. These nightmares are not necessarily rooted in the reality of Lumiere and the continent as we know it. Not saying that they're fictional, but this is not our reality. Something is amiss here. This doesn't get revealed until Act 3, but there is a reason that these dreams and these characters are not of our realm.
Mm-hmm. And it relates back to what you had said about the writing. Like, they're not explaining much of anything. It's just enough to have intrigue to it, you know? Because, like, they'll ask Maelle about the nightmares, and she won't say much about it. And probably it could just be because when you have dreams or nightmares, most of the time you don't recall the events clearly. And it's a good way of kind of masking doing that, like, you know, having to explain everything that's happening. You know, it just sort of allows you to let it sink in and be like, what could that mean? But yeah, later in the game, we will find out what they mean.
In this nightmare, the white-haired man appears, and he approaches them, and he speaks to the white-haired girl. He says,
Alicia, I told you to stay home. It's not good for you to see this.
Alicia points to Maelle, and he continues,
Yes, I understand. It's her fault, and she doesn't even know it. But you can't be here.
Then he speaks to Maelle.
What's my fault? What is this?
You should never have come. You're only going to make things worse for everyone. Now take your friends and go home. Let them spend their final year in peace. This is your only warning.
So she wakes up and she's in complete shock. Everybody's trying to calm her down. Lune is a bit cold and, you know, pragmatic. She wants to get as much info out of her as possible, whereas Gustav is like, you know, she needs to be alone. She needs to relax a little bit. Mm-hmm. I like that the music here is the exact same track that was used with Gustav's breakdown when he like sat down and was going to blow his brains out.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that serene, like church-like music. It's nice.
Yeah, nice touch.
Well, after that, we get to Esquie's nest. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. This is really beautifully designed. There's like bioluminescence from the flora everywhere. It's blue and pink and purple.
Yeah, I love a good purple, bisexual lighting, and but seeing just those like royal purple like kind of mushrooms sort of lightly filling up this like darkened cave. I always love that. I mean, purple is my favorite color, so the more I see of it, the happier I am.
I go back and forth between favorite colors. Mine used to be purple. I think now I would say pink or green, or both.
Oh, interesting.
Great 90s combination.
I like purple, but it's like I lean more to like the blue side of purple.
Sure.
Or in the red side.
Your indigos, yeah. Purple Mountain Majesty.
Yeah.
Is it weird to have a favorite crayon? That was my favorite crayon as a kid.
Purple Mountain Majesties?
Yeah, I love saying
it. It sounds so good they put it in a song.
Sure. We don't want to skip over this fantastic bit of like early Final Fantasy comedy here. Before we get into the nest, we have to give the password, right? So there is a Gestral standing guard. You know, the lore reason is that Esquie is so strong he might accidentally eat people that go in, so you have to prove yourself at Golgras. This does not track with the Esquie that we know, but, you know, whatever. Don't think too hard about it. So
they're treating him like he's Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Right, or Sloth from a fucking Full Metal Alchemist, I guess.
Sure.
So Gustav is the one that gets coaxed into yelling the password. He doesn't really want to do it. He walks up to the Nevron, rubbing his neck, and he's like, hey.
Hey.
Come on. Don't be shy.
So he screams the password.
Get out of my way! Jeez.
And the Nevron is like, whoa, you don't have to be so rude about it. Jeez. And he's like, no, I'm so sorry. Like they said that we have to yell it as loud as they can. And the the Gestral is like, you know, they told me we had a password, but nobody told me what it was. You know, whatever, just go through.
She's just fucking with you, and it's so fun.
And everybody's looking at Gustav like, wow, good one, dude. That
is a very classic comedy trope of like being roped into doing something that you didn't have to do. You do it, and then everyone's like, bro, why'd you do that? And you're like, what do you mean?
He tries to apologize, and Maelle is like, Gestrals are dumb as shit. He'll forget in a literal minute.
I think he does, actually.
So, you get into the nest, beautiful nest. Maelle and Sciel are getting deja vu for some reason. That's interesting. And this is where we meet the big lug. He flies in, cannonballs into his water. He's wooing, he's weeing. This is Esquie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What did you think of Esquie?
Oh, he's great. What do you mean?
Fan favorite.
He's a good boy. He reminds me of what's the name of the dog in Pikmin 4?
The dog in what?
Pikmin 4. You didn't play, hold on.
Never played Pikmin 4. I was a little nervous about this at first, and I realize I'm being a little cynical. Esquie, I was really hesitant of Esquie because it's approaching this aesthetic that I really find kind of grating and gross, of the heckin' doggo, ooh woo, good cozy cinnamon bean shaped friend, that kind of millennial thing.
Is it that he's bordering on Big the Cat?
No, that's more of like a lovable moron kind of a deal. I'm
lovable's in question marks, but okay.
I don't know how to explain it better than the ooh woo heckin' doggo, friend shaped small cinnamon roll kind of infantilization of, I don't know. I'm being cynical. Esquie's not that though.
I think I get what you're trying to say. That the good boy trope.
Yeah, he's not that. He is. How do you even describe him? He's sort of looks like a big sack with legs and he has
arms. It almost looks like a ceremonial mask for a face.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, it has a wooden carved out thing. I don't know. It almost looks like something you'd see in Eco or something.
And his head is small. His body is huge. His legs and arms are tiny. His head is small.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's got a real tiny, and then a stupidly long scarf that goes all the way down to where his belly button would be.
And the interesting thing about him, well, one of the interesting things to me is the way that he talks. He has such a specific cadence, and I think it comes from the fact that, well, I don't know if this is true of the voice actor, but he speaks English like somebody whose first language is not English. He's got a very distinct cadence.
Would you please help us?
There's a lot of you to carry. I'm strong, but I'm not that strong. I will need Flory.
Who's Flory?
One of my rocks.
Maxine Cazorla?
That's the voice actor?
Yeah, I hope I pronounced that right.
Well, they did a fantastic job. Very convincing. It would be tough to even...
Well, apparently, not only did they voice Esquie, they also mocapped some of the characters in the game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be able to do an impression. He is such a unique and distinct way of talking.
Well, hopefully you put a clip in so people can understand how he sounds.
Yes.
Hopefully my editor did.
Yes, editor, please get on that.
Or I'll dock your pay. I edit the show, everybody. Don't worry.
Can you dock from $0?
It's interesting. Esquie seems to recognize us, specifically Sciel, who he calls my terrible swimmer friend. Nobody knows how he knows this. He will help us swim across the ocean as long as we get his rock Flory back.
His Froggy back.
Right, exactly. he tells us it was stolen by his arch nemesis.
The one whose every step shakes the foundation of the world. The one known as Francois.
Who it turns out is his neighbor.
Yeah, and what does this dastardly Francois look like, Rick? Tell me.
I mean, he kind of just looks like a giant turtle.
He's just not even a turtle, just a shell of a turtle.
Yeah, a turtle shell. That's right.
Yeah.
He's a cranky old turtle too. He just basically he literally tells you to get off his lawn.
Esquie! Stop sending hooligans over here! Stop being a meanie. They're nice humans. Then keep them on your side of the caves! Now get off my lawn!
Yeah, he's Grandpa Simpson.
It's they have a frenemy relationship, right? They live next door to each other, and Esquie is like, stop being a meanie, and he's like, get these kids out of here, and we end up having to fight him, to get Flory the rock back. So funny, it cracked me up because you're not going into this fight taking it seriously, right? You're not respecting the Francois, which will be your downfall as it was mine.
He kicks your ass.
Dude, the game literally tells you, right? It sets it up as a joke. He rotates. He barely moves because he's a rock, you know? And it says Francois uses the strongest ice attack ever. And you're thinking like, oh, okay, you know, this is going to be like one of those joke fights. No, it one-shots you.
Yeah, like it like at this point, the way the lightheartedness gave me almost like Earthbound vibes. But like Earthbound, it kind of draws you in with that and then throws you something fucking crazy. You know?
Yeah.
And this does exactly that. Yeah. It's like the strongest ice attack, and you're like, oh shit, fuck, everybody's dead. What happened?
Yeah, I got party wiped my first time, yeah.
Yeah.
You beat him, and he gives you, you know, gives you the rock. Well, no, he doesn't. It turns out he doesn't have Francois. He was just putting Esquie on and giving us a fake. And Esquie is like, he got me good.
Got his ass.
Flory is over at or around the Stonewave Cliffs, all the way to the north. Just aim for the big 33.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out that's where we're going. He says something interesting too. This is the first mention we get of this person. He offers to help us find the stones so he can fly again. These stones give him power, strength, you know. The in-game mechanics, you get new abilities. You get to fly, break coral, dive underwater. For him, they just make him strong, you know. But he says he misses flying. He used to do it all the time with his best friend Verso.
Who's that?
So that's where we're going. We're going to Stonewave Cliffs. Maelle's nightmares continue. They are now featuring another younger man, the same young man that we saw before, and now a fire. We're seeing fires in a manor of some sort. In one of them, there's this really cool quote in which the masked girl, who is like being comforted by the white-haired man, says the following in a distorted voice.
I envy them. Those who can't see. Those who know not that they are not. And those who live, blithe and free. Sins forgotten, and thus absolved. A fresh dawn in their playground. While we live in shadows, swimming in ink. We are but a fragile dream.
While that distorted voice is playing, there's a music box version of Alicia's theme playing, which just gives this such a nice contrast to hear something so simple and sweet and innocent next to like this distorted, otherworldly, ghastly sort of voice, you know? I loved it.
Yeah.
So much about this game is so goddamn good.
Yeah, it's all so like meticulously like laid out, you know. You can feel like the passion they had for the game just kind of radiating off of it.
We're on the way to Stonewave Cliffs to find Flory. We can see remnants of old Lumiere. We see apartments, destructed apartments, that is. A Ferris wheel. See a big Ferris wheel. Sciel kind of like jokes with Gustave. You know, we said that Sciel is kind of the spunky kind of, you know, jokester. And she's like talking to him like, oh, you want to go on a date? And we kind of learn that Gustave's a little bit awkward. And when he feels awkward or uncomfortable, he immediately deflects to like history. Like he's like, no, actually, what I think that was is the wheel from Expedition 50. And this is exactly what they did and how they did it. And he's a bit of a dork.
That reminds it completely off topic, but it reminds me of like the new season of King of the Hill. There's an episode where like Hank has to lie for Khan, and he's trying to lie to Peggy, and she's like, I know you're lying, and he's like, well, how can you tell? And she's like, because every time you lie, you take off your glasses and wipe them on your shirt. He's like, I don't know what you mean, and then immediately starts doing it.
What an amazing show. I haven't watched it because I haven't seen the like whole series of the original. I did see, one, the Khan's voice is very distracting. It sounds so strange. But two, I did see a great little, what do you call it, like a couple of frames where Bobby is talking to Hank and he's like, you know, beers, you know, they tell the experience, they tell a story. And Hank is like, a beer doesn't need to tell a story, it just needs a fridge to keep it cold. It's like, amen, dude, amen.
Oh, yeah. You would love the new season because they haven't missed a beat.
I've heard everybody is saying it's a genuine 10 out of 10.
Yeah, because it was a revival that made sense. You know, you can tell that Mike Judge did it because he wanted to do it. And, oh, it's so good.
I do feel a little bad about the whole John Redcorn situation. R.I.P.
Oh, that whole thing is rough. That whole thing is really rough.
Fucking horrible. Horrible hate crime to have happened.
Yeah. Very sad.
So remember when we said Esquie is like the most powerful being in the universe? We kind of see that happen here. One of those giant foreskin monsters comes up again, and Esquie, who's saying that he's not powerful enough to swim us on his back, just fucking beams that thing in the chest, and it just instantly goes down.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, dude, powerful but lazy. You know, just like Sloth. Or who was it that you said? I don't think I was familiar with him.
Big the cat?
No. Big the cat is not a fierce monster.
But he is strong, though.
Is he? Yeah, I guess he was the power in Sonic Heroes.
Well, yeah, and in Sonic Adventure, there's a point where you have to like lift a car to go into the sewer, and he just yeets that thing up like it's nothing. It's like, oh. But no, who was the other character I said?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Who cares?
So we're going through here. We see the young boy again. The shadow of the young boy. He says, not voiced, by the way, so I have to read it. Sorry, everybody. I'll do my best reading. Remember, I am eligible for hire. I'm not SAG, but you can hire me. My rates are low because I'm an amateur. He says, it's you. You're not from here. This place was made to bring joy, not pain. Yet pain is everywhere. Like the creatures of darkness at the end of this path, it is but one of her many creations. You ask him, why is the paintress doing this? And he says, I don't know. It's not like her. She was my best friend, but she outgrew us. Totally recontextualized on a second playthrough. And it's a great meditation from a child on the principal theme of this game. You know, this is difficult to say without spoiling. But if you know, you know. If you don't, just tuck this away. This is an escape, a simple pleasure. This was the last bastion of joy, but even it is not free from the ink splatter, pun intended, of grief. Even this, grief is everywhere. It has a tendency to seep into the crevices and the cracks, even despite your best effort. It's really cool. Can't say more because it would spoil a lot of the game.
Exactly.
There's a shrine to the paintress here. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't. I must have missed it.
Yeah, it looks like someone just made a makeshift little worship shrine. They have a little back and forth about it. Gustav says the paintress destroyed our world and someone built her a shrine. Lune, the weak-minded, turn to whatever they can to explain the unknown. Sciel, when you're at the mercy of a power you don't understand, you might try anything.
Gee, what's that an allegory for?
Yeah, I know. I know, right?
But in a way, I understand where they're coming from. You know, where probably some of them were thinking, oh, maybe if we, you know, like worship and hail to the paintress, maybe she will spare us. I could see why somebody would think that. You know,
it also shows their unique approaches to, to the world, to grief. You know, Lune sees it as the weak-minded turning to whatever they can, the opiate of the masses, right? That's Lune's sort of thing, you know, steel will. Whereas Sciel, when you're at the mercy of something you don't understand, you might try anything. Little bit of a spoiler, but it's not plot-related. You could skip forward about 30 seconds if you want. This is interesting because Sciel had a suicide attempt previously. She tried to kill herself, and here she's saying, when you've got your back to the wall, whenever you're standing at the edge of a skyscraper and the flames behind you are getting so intense, you know, you will try anything. You jump, paraphrasing David Foster Wallace, my favorite author. Did you guys know that? Have I mentioned him before? You know, paraphrasing him, but when the fire gets too intense, you jump not because you want to, but because the alternative is so horrifying. And that's kind of Sciel's approach here too. I think it's more profound than it lets on. It's one of those things that seems incredibly simple, but that's why it's profound. You know what I mean? Do you guys just sound like an asshole saying that?
No. But I think it also, like contextually, as you said, it fits with her character because she can have empathy for these people doing this, you know?
Totally.
Whereas Lune, you know, she's taken any sort of like empathy or human emotion kind of out of it. Like she was, you know, kind of taught to not, you know, think about it that way.
Right. We get to a fight. We're doing a boss. Lampmaster.
Oh yeah, all the lights.
Yeah, you like Lampmaster?
Yeah, I think it looks neat.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a cross between a Pokemon and a Dark Souls. You know, just
Yeah.
all the Dark Souls.
Yeah, Pokesouls.
I almost said Darkemon, but I was like, oh, that doesn't sound good.
Darkamon. Oh no.
A cool gimmick, you know, you can shoot down his lanterns. His lanterns make a little pattern, and you can use your free shot ability to take it down. Very Dark Souls design too. 2 phases.
I think that's what you have to do.
Oh, do you have? Is it required?
I think so. Because I think if you try to attack him not doing that, it doesn't do much damage.
Okay.
It's that or it might be a boss I'm thinking of later that has like a light source that you have to destroy before you can actually attack him. It might be a boss later in the game.
It's telegraphed pretty strongly, so like I think you would know to do it.
Yeah.
After the first phase, it falls into the water, and Maelle says,
Easier than expected.
Hey, don't jinx us. No need to invite misfortune.
and then immediately cut to the It's Always Sunny title card. They invited misfortune because this is the second phase.
The gang goes on an expedition.
Yeah, the gang invites misfortune. Exactly. Yeah. But you take it. It's another fight. You take him down. That's where you get Flory. So Esquie, he's got Flory. He hops into the water. He's happy. Lune and Sciel jump down on top of him from the cliff. They can finally set sail to the Paintress. And Maelle and Gustave, they hang back for just a minute. She says, "You want to throw one more rock just for old time's sake?" Gustave throws rocks, as a meditative activity. They hang back. You want to throw a couple more rocks. They finally won. And that's when the familiar knocking of the white-haired man's cane can be heard. And I love this, dude. I love how this is shot. The knocking, it's ticking down like a clock.
Yeah.
And how apropos that is. The scenes cut back and forth, like from black to the white-haired man, cut to black to Maelle and Gustave, just back and forth. And mid-sentence, like it's not cinematic.
Well, like I always say, it's not about the rock. It's more about...
He spears Gustave right through the chest. Immediate cut to black. It comes back. Maelle's face is just covered in blood. Shocking if you maybe weren't paying attention to the gore so far.
Genuinely was not expecting this to happen at all.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty intense but intense in like just the right way to, I think, really show that, like, to show the stakes and show that, like, the enemy is powerful.
Yeah, totally. I'm not going to say this every time because it comes up quite a few more times, and I harped on it last time enough. I love this whole scene. All of this for the next few minutes. It's great. Voice acted great. It's shot, blocked great. This is a case, though, of extremely light brights casting long shadows because it becomes so obvious that the technology cannot keep up with the facial expressions of the actors, particularly with Maelle, in the eyes, in the brows, in the cheeks. It's not as expressive as I know Jennifer English is being. It's not as expressive as I know Andy Serkis is being or Charlie Cox is being. That's just an inherent con of pursuing hyper-realistic graphics. It's not a con against video games. That is one way that theater and film just have a little bit of an advantage, and that's okay, but...
And also, this is more of like a independent kind of production as well, so I think even if there was that technology that could more accurately represent their faces, right, they probably just didn't have the resources to get that technology to use it in the game.
Well, yeah, you're right. That being said, though, just coming off of Death Stranding, I don't remember Death Stranding being, like, that much better in that respect. I don't know. Have you played it? I mean, I was going to use Detroit.
I've not played Death Stranding yet. It's sitting in the backlog.
It's a mess, but it's a lot of fun. I was thinking,
I've heard so many different opinions on that game. It's crazy.
I thought back to Detroit Become Human, and like I vaguely remember that being a little better, but also so much of the acting there is meant to be like robotic because they're androids, So I don't even know.
And also, it's David Cage. I think the way he portrays emotion can be a little iffy at times.
Fucking David Cage, dude. I cannot stand him.
I love him, Like I love Heavy Rain to death. Like for the kind of wacky goofiness that it can be, but also Detroit Become Human is wacky and goofy in its own way. But it's like I'm able to like enjoy that probably like in an ironic kind of a sense, you know.
Listeners, we did a whole 3-part analysis of Detroit. I don't like that game. I think its writing is really bad. That series was a lot of fun. Ton of fun.
I watched a friend of mine play through the whole thing, and that was an experience. Especially that like twist near the end of the game. I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about. I'm a little worried. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for people, but like, because I didn't know when it happened, but I legitimately was like, this is the dumbest thing they could have done.
when the prompt came up that gave you the option to sing, I fucking threw the controller.
Oh, so good.
Let's get back to it. This is kind of epic. Gustav has a hole through his body, and he's not letting go. He's going to fight the man. He's asking him, like, we should be on the same side. Why are you doing this? And you get into a fight with him. For a moment, I just wrote Maelle randomly in the middle of okay, that's weird. For a moment, it looks like you might have won, right? Gustav gets all of his energy, fucking sends the white-haired man into the side of the cliff, just beams him in there, Dragon Ball Z style. Gustav's prosthetic arm falls off. So he overdid it. But the man spears Gustav once again, and that's it. He's dead. They don't play them character themes in moments like this for survivors. It's really emotional. Sciel and Lune, by the way, aren't able to fly up because down in the water, like they're on Esquie, the Lampmaster has come back, and presumably they're taking care of that. Really emotional scene.
Yeah, and honestly, this might be a bit of a spoiler for later, but I genuinely didn't expect Gustav to be like dead for the rest of the game. I thought they were going to find some way to bring him back or do something with that, but no, he's gone. He doesn't come back.
And it's telegraphed, his skill tree is completely locked out. I am really glad that they didn't bring him back. I've been vocal about this before, so I don't want to be a parody of myself, but I think it's so cowardly when character deaths are hand-waved away, just for the sake of making the audience happy, No,
I completely agree. I think it's a good thing that they did that, especially because it's a character that they use to like advertise the game, And, and I was like, oh, he's got plot armor. They'll do something to, he'll be fine. But no, he's not fine at all. They psycho us, the whole Janet Leigh thing with that. And I think that was great. Like that was an amazing move.
Now I will say, I don't know if I'm prepared to argue this as if I believe it, but there is an argument to be made that they did resurrect Gustav. And this is a spoiler only for like 5 minutes from now, so I'm just going to say it. Because he's immediately replaced with another kind of serious white guy lead that uses a similar weapon and gets all of Gustav's Lumina points. So functionally, they kind of do resurrect him.
Kind of, but also I think that like the personality-wise, they are distinct enough to be different characters.
That's true. He is also like a brother figure.
Yeah.
Intentionally chosen words to Maelle, just like Gustav was.
Yeah, for sure. But I still feel like they are just different enough.
Yeah. I agree more with you than I do with that. I just, I wanted to play devil's advocate. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's okay. It's okay. I see those horns.
The white-haired man says something interesting to Maelle.
You won't yet understand. But this is a kindness, not a cruelty.
And this is where even more questions are brought to us. He attempts to knock Maelle down, but what happens is she goes into this out-of-body experience, like her nightmares, black and white, everything. She hears a man and a woman arguing about letting her come along. You hear them say, "My sweet child, what were you were supposed to stay home. I told you not to worry. What are you saying? You must go home now. This does not involve you." This seems to surprise the white-haired man, but back in reality, there goes gravity. He says, "This won't make sense to you now, but we both want what's best for our families. I'm sorry you're caught in the middle, but I did try to warn you." And he tries to attack her, but that attack is blocked by the younger man who just jumps in that we saw from Maelle's dreams. the guy with the longish hair and the white streak. Voiced by Ben Starr. There's your star power.
Everybody's favorite.
A lot of folks said that they saw Gustav's death coming because they were like, Ben Starr's not here. He's probably going to show up soon. And then when it happened, they were like, oh, okay, this makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because Gustav, I remember when the game was coming out, everyone's like, he looks a lot like
Robert
what's
Pattinson.
his name? Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which led to like a rumor that he was involved with the game's production, or he was going to be. I don't know how true that is. It's possible that maybe they wanted him, but maybe they just couldn't get him for whatever reason. So, and I think it probably would have been even like more impactful if they actually did get Pattinson. And it's like, oh, this big star, but they only got him for just like this little bit of the game.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I should look into that.
So this new white-haired, this new fella from Maelle's dreams, he blocks the attack on Maelle. The white-haired man says, stay out of this.
You chose to walk away. You don't get to come back now and interfere.
You've lived more than a lifetime. It's time to let her go.
A lifetime. A lifetime with my family torn apart. No. I want my family back.
The white-haired man just wants his family back. This newcomer says in retort, it's not your family, but she is. He points to Alicia, the white-haired girl, on the cliff.
Yeah.
First go through, none of this makes sense. Not at all.
Just family drama, right?
Recontextualized, though, this works great. Like, you know exactly what's going on, and it's perfect. Like, it's really well. This game is extremely good about recontextualizing things on a second playthrough. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the power of like really good storytelling, where it kind of encourages you to go do it a second time, because then you see how all the pieces kind of line up. You know, you get that initial experience of not knowing what the heck's going on, and then when you get the second one where you know what the heck is going on, and it doesn't devalue experiencing the story again, which can be hard to do.
Right. So this is Verso. Verso means reverse. Back or reverse. Recto verso describes the left and right of paper. Think also what reverse implies. Reverse is sort of like a reflection, an imitation. And that's going to apply to this character extremely as we move forward. This is also maybe a mild spoiler, maybe, but I really like when characters in games and in fiction lie to you or obfuscate the truth for their own purposes.
It keeps the intrigue there.
So, tell us about Verso, Thrak. What did you think of Verso?
I don't know. In some ways, I kind of preferred Gustav as a character. I don't know. Maybe it's just because we didn't get as much of him, so I was kind of like hoping to see his like character arc get resolved, but it never does get resolved, and instead it feels like Verso is just, for most of the game, feels like just the placeholder instead, you know? Like, in my opinion, I don't think he gets really interesting as a character until much later in the game.
Yeah.
But at first he's okay. I don't know. Something about him just like stuck out to me. You know, like he didn't fit properly with the rest of the team. But thinking about it, that might have been intentional.
It takes a while for his personality to come through.
Yes. Yeah. Very much a sheltered off kind of person from that. Like me.
He was my second least used character my first playthrough. Now, on my replay through, he is like decimating everything. He is a champ.
Yeah, in battle, I don't think I ever used him unless I had to.
If you replay it, I would be interested to hear, because he can become extremely useful. His gimmick, he uses something called perfection, like the 90s, like the hit 90s board game.
I was like, wait, what the heck are you talking about?
Perfection is a letter grade that ranges from D all the way up to S. And when you deal damage, your perfection rises. When you take damage, it lowers. Perfection will change how strong your abilities are and sometimes how much they cost. So like some abilities might say, you know, if at rank C, increase damage. If at rank S, this skill instead of costing 9 only costs 5. So again, it's in your best interest because this game's battle system is like focused on deal high number damage. It's in your best interest to get that damage or to get that perfection as high as possible and not take any damage so it remains there. It's pretty great. And here's something interesting. Verso has the light affinity.
Mm-hmm.
He attacks with light, opposite to Sciel. Well, actually, it's more opposite to something else that we find later. But, you know. So we all sit down and talk with Verso. Everybody at first is pretty mistrustful of him because, you know, he didn't save Gustave. He's working with the villain. What the hell's going on? He tells us,
if you want to reach the monolith, the best path is through the quarry up north.
Who are you? And where did you get that expedition uniform?
Strange way to say thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't save your friend. I'm wearing an expedition uniform because I, too, am an expeditioner.
What? What do you mean you're an... I've never seen you before.
First expedition. Expedition 0.
Expedition 0?
The very first expedition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's the case, he should be dead by now, so why isn't he old? He answers, I don't know. Some of us just stopped aging one day. It'll make sense soon. This is where he tells us that the white-haired man's name is Renoir, and he was Expedition Zero's commander. He is immortal, and he's stopping everybody that goes for the Paintress because taking care of her would remove his immortality and he would die. Pretty standard villain stuff, right?
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me.
So he asks to join our expedition. He wants to take down Renoir and the Paintress. He's on our side, and that takes us into Act 2, Verso.
Quite a long act, too.
What, Act 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's good. There's a lot of good stuff in here.
Oh, yeah. It's basically the meat of the game, you know?
Mm-hmm. I saw some folks saying that when they saw Act 1 was titled Gustave, that was a spoiler that he was going to die. I don't see how that tracks.
I didn't think that at all.
No, me neither. But anyway, Act 2 is Verso, so I guess Verso's going to die at the end of Act 2.
I think it's just people want to be clever.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, I knew that was coming. And it's like, you can just say you didn't. It's okay.
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, it's okay to let like a piece of media surprise you. That's okay.
Back at the camp, this is where the relationship meter is revealed. Here is where. Verso and Esquie, remember, Esquie said that Verso was his best friend. They know each other very much. You can talk to Esquie, and he asks them...
So how did these expeditioners convince you to leave your cave?
They're all so nice. Well, the super nice one died, but the others are cool too. You can make some friends too. It's been a long time since you made new human friends.
Oh, it's pretty funny.
He's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, it's really good. There's a line here. I'm going to combine this with a line that comes later. Verso will try to comfort Maelle because Maelle is still in shock that Gustave is gone.
Yeah, like her last true connection to the world, basically.
Right. And speaking of that, I mean, she says, I don't need condolences. I've lost so many families now. Because she was an orphan, remember? Her parents died when she was very young.
Yeah.
That's a gut punch of a line there, but even more so on a replay when you get her full background. And the line that I'm going to pull from a little bit later, they're having another camp conversation at a later time. Verso says to Maelle about condolences. He was like, you're right. We offer them because we don't know what else to say, but there's no comfort there. All we can do is carry them with us. I feel that so deeply.
Yeah, I mean, you always could just hug emoji.
Well, that's exactly when I put this line down. That's exactly when I jumped into the Discord. There's something about condolences that does feel more like an obligated act than genuine feeling. You know what I mean? You know, when we say my condolences, we've been conditioned now to, you know, heart react on Facebook and say, I'm so sorry for your loss. But what does it actually mean? Do we genuinely mean this, or are we just signaling to the recipient and to everybody that, you know, I know this is the polite thing to do?
Well, it's the issue where sometimes I think people are more concerned about comforting themselves than the other person. Because, like, you see something like that, and if you don't say something or don't acknowledge it, you feel like you're like a bad person because of that. And so people will offer their condolences or thoughts and prayers or whatever to just make themselves feel better, and not necessarily because they genuinely care about the other person.
Yeah.
I don't think that's always the case, though, because as I would say to anybody, it's like, well, what if you did something like that and then you got nothing, like no reaction out of it?
Right.
You would probably be like, what the fuck's what? Like you probably be more upset about that, I think.
And it's because it's ingrained in us, right? Like this is something that I said in that conversation in the Discord. I wouldn't be pissed at somebody or call somebody out for doing this because it's been ingrained in us to the point where that's just how you do it. You know, it's like in America, if you say, hey, how's it going to somebody, you know that you don't actually care. And two, if you're just saying it's a friendly greeting. And two, if that person were to say back to you, not so good lately, actually, I'm not doing well. That's disarming. That's alarming. That's uncomfortable. You know, you don't want that. You just want good, you know, because it's functionally, it's just a greeting. That's kind of like what it is here. And I agree with you. It can be pacifying, like self-soothing in that way. Verso's line that he says after that, you know, we offer them because we don't know what else to say, but there's no comfort there. All we can do is carry them with us. That kind of works two ways too, right? You know, if you receive the condolence, it doesn't help you. All you do is carry that weight with you then. You're carrying the weight of now I know what happened. Now I'm thinking about what happened.
Yeah.
The person giving the condolence would do better to carry it with them, right? They carry that sadness and maybe use it in a more productive way. I forget who said this in the server, but you know, being more personal about it. That's really difficult. If you need anything, let me know, right?
Yeah. But I would also argue, like, if you don't want condolences, then you wouldn't like say that thing to get them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's another thing where it's like I think it was like I saw a thread on like Blue Sky or whatever where someone was like, you know, I spent all this time saying this like, you know, thoughtful thing, and then all I get are just these reactions and nothing else. And it's like, well, you went out of your way to type it, so clearly you wanted something. You did.
Right.
You wanted a reaction out of it, right? Which is fair.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you are like wanting a reaction, it can be difficult to then judge whatever reaction you get back, especially if it's like, you're telling somebody like, hey, like this, you know, relative of mine just passed or whatever, right? Like, and then if you're getting mad at how somebody reacts to that, I feel like that just, it makes it come off performative.
Sure.
You know, and it's like, what, do you just want everybody to be like sympathetic to your cause? You know what I mean? It's just people handle like grief and all of that just in very, very different ways. But I do agree with that one person in the Discord who said it's probably better just to be like, you know, hey, if there's anything I can do, like, you know, let me know.
That gets into the social media-ification of it all too, right? Like, you don't post about your cat dying if you don't want people to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's implicitly what's going on there. Very, very few people, I think, genuinely post stuff like that because they want to let everybody know. You know, so you see that sometimes with like small families on Facebook that have like 12 friends and it's just their family. That makes sense. But for somebody like me, if I were to post on Instagram that my cat died, that's, I don't have a ton of followers, but like north of 700, that's me looking for people to say, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
It's just, and I'm not saying that's good or bad. I don't think I am. That's just kind of in the social agreement of using social media, which is a bigger conversation than I think we have time to get into.
But yeah, we could go into all that, like, social media stuff, but that might end up being longer than this podcast.
Yeah. Let's go a little bit further, just a bit.
Yeah.
So we are moving forward to get to the Paintress. We're going to go through the Forgotten Battlefield. This is an insane amount of corpses. Just so many mountains and hills of dead former partners, expedition members.
Yeah, this was, I think of all the areas, it was probably my favorite, just in terms of like how striking it was, like just those hues of orange, just to kind of show more of like a sunset kind of look. And what's interesting is that it's not like gory or bloody or anything like that. It's not like gross at all. It's just as you said, just piles of bodies everywhere. Just kind of like showing how many times this expedition has been tried and failed. I feel like that's really where it sets in, especially with everything that had just happened prior. It kind of even sets in that's like, there is a chance you may not survive this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are reminded of death at every turn, and this death is old. You're right, it's not bloody.
No.
This has been here. This has been going on for a long time. And this amount of corpses really weighs on Maelle. She has a mini little freak out here, and she's saying, everywhere we go is death, 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 which is fascinating because the player on your first time through will assume that, she's 16. This is tough for her, which is true.
Yeah.
But, there is another reason that subconsciously so much death is weighing on her. And, again, spoilers, so we can't talk about it, but this is just another way that they're recontextualizing things in a very nuanced way it just makes this really worth a replay.
Yeah.
You don't have much time to reflect, though, because the Nevron What Killed All Your Past Comrades, the duelist, is here to fuck shit up. He jumps down and does this crazy attack on you with like a bass drop, like a dubstep bass drop as he hits you.
Yeah.
And you land in this, this is really grimy. You land in a pool of muck and blood, which is just fucking metal as shit. And you fight the duelist, which is like a fan favorite boss of this game. Very Dark Souls.
Yeah. That's definitely where, he feels like he's ripped out of a FromSoft game.
Oh, yeah. And he's challenging. He's another 2-phaser. He gets 2 phases. That makes me think of, that It's Always Sunny episode, 2 wars. You're fighting 2 wars.
We're in the midst of 2
I've been rewatching It's Always Sunny, and it's so good.
Perfect show.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, this fight can be tough. Is this the first fight where multiple defensive maneuvers like dodging and parrying plus jumping are required?
It feels like
remember.
It feels like it. I mean, I'm sure there have been other instances where they happen, because I know up to this point I would try to like go into like the little side areas, even the ones I would say danger, and I'm like, oh, what's so bad? And then you seen like a side boss or whatever. You're like, oh, let me see if I could do it. And then you do one hit and it does no damage, and you're like, oh, well, I'm fucked.
Right. Yep. I had that moment with Sprong very recently, the Nevron that's like in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fight took me about a half hour, but thankfully those attacks are very easy to get down to a rhythm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Duelist is sick. That's the Nevron that Verso has killed everybody else. And then afterwards he's like, well, that wasn't so bad, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Before they leave, the gang buries Gustav's lopped off arm in this sunlit, serene field under the watch of a red tree. Red leaves everywhere. Beautiful, verdant, sunlit little meadow. They bury the arm and they each give their little goodbyes. They say it out loud, kind of to themselves. A nice little send-off for our guy.
They waited till they found a place that they felt was safe to give him his proper burial, and probably like seeing all of those dead bodies just kind of strewn about in the forgotten battlefield probably made them think that we need to do something proper for him. We don't want to add him to the pile.
Absolutely. That would be so disrespectful to his memory.
Exactly.
To his honor.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's not disrespectful to all of those other folks, but they didn't have the chance to be dignified and sent off in such a sweet way.
Yeah.
This is where Verso gives that condolences line. The camp meeting, like band meeting, just camp meeting. Before they get to the Paintress, and maybe this is where we'll stop after introducing this character, they're going to recruit Verso's friend Monoco. Monoco lives at Monoco Station.
He's got his own station. He's a radio DJ.
Yeah. This is like a snowy area. It's really nice, too. Like, Sciel gets really excited about seeing snow, which I guess they don't get in Lumiere very much, ever.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, with how fucked up everything is, I imagine the weather is probably just as, like, messed up, you know? Like, it even looks like it doesn't rain that much.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really think of the environmental implications of, like, a fucked up world like this.
I mean, yeah, if you looked out your window and saw, like, those, like, you know, crazy things in the sky, you're probably not thinking to yourself, oh, it looks like it's going to rain today.
Yeah, probably not. I would probably be worried about getting zapped out of existence next year.
Exactly.
Monoco Station, it looks like a deserted, dilapidated train station, kind of in the deconstructed Tim Burton sort of way, too. Like, trains are sort of sticking out of the ground, tracks are twisting through the air. There's a Final Fantasy VII nod up around here somewhere. If you like look at the trains just right, it looks like the meteor.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Interesting. Yeah.
But we meet our final character, Monoco, who jumps down, is going to challenge us to a fight. Monoco is a Gestral, but he's a special Gestral for 3 reasons. A couple of tree reasons. One, he can speak English. Verso said, yeah, we had a lot of time together, so I taught him English.
Ladies, could I interest you in a duel?
Definitely a Gestral.
2, Monoco has like white fur, like white gray fur.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a monkey.
Yeah, he has a monkey look to me. He's got a little beard on the bottom.
Yeah. Third reason why he's so special. Well, okay, four reasons. Third reason why he's so special, he's a blue mage, functionally. He learns enemy abilities, turns into enemies, and uses them as his abilities. And then the fourth, I mean, just listen to this music that's playing. This is such a fucking dope track. This is so good. As soon as the fight starts with the talk box, and then the saxophone comes in. Oh, it's so good.
That is some Rick-coded music right there.
Oh, dude, it's fucking tight. There's another really saxophone-heavy track in one of the Gestral beach challenges.
Yep.
Actually, funny enough, the one that you complete to get Monoco's swimsuit.
I was going to mention his swimsuit.
Yeah, he's got a little banana hammock.
His little Speedo, yeah.
Yeah.
European,
it's so
am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird seeing him without fur. He just looks like a fucking wooden doll.
Yeah. It's like, how do you grow that hair in the first place?
Monoco is like a Gestral insofar as he really likes to fight.
Yeah.
Like him and Verso's relationship is so funny. Like they have little back and forths. He really loves fighting. He wasn't going to come with us until Verso's like, well, there's going to be a lot of fighting. And Monoco's like, yeah, there will. Yeah, there will. Yeah, there will. Yeah, there will.
I feel like they don't play into their like little humorous relationship that much after this. You know, it feels like it takes a backseat to some of the more serious stuff, which I get.
Well,
you know,
any more, it would have got a little bit too Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon, Marvel coded.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I don't know, maybe just like a little bit more splotches of humor here and there between the two of them, I think would have been nice. Just little bits.
Did you use Monoco a lot?
No, actually, and I regret that because, as I'd mentioned, you know, I had basically Charlie's Angels for most of the game, but then once Sciel was dying a bunch, I swapped back to Monoco. I was like, let me give him a try, and I'm like, oh, this guy's a beast. And I felt so bad because it was so late in the game. I was like, oh man, like if I ever do replay it, I would use Monoco like immediately because I feel like for me, there was a lot of untapped potential with what this character's like capable of, and I was able to learn some stuff while I had him, which was like really cool. And he has like the most variety of any of the characters with like, you know, all the different things that he can do. And I imagine you can probably make some pretty wacky builds with this guy.
Oh yeah, dude. My Monoco, like for a long time on my first playthrough, everybody talks about Maelle being broken. Monoco for me was like outclassing everybody. And he still does, like on this playthrough. I only need like 2 more abilities with him and I'll have his whole skill set.
Oh wow.
He gets crazy powerful.
Yeah, because I remember when you see his skill set and it's just that giant like grid of like, what is it, like 6x10 or something of just like all the different stuff. It's like, man, that's awesome.
He learns abilities by being in battle when you defeat an enemy with a certain icon over their or under their health bar. And the in-game lore is not explained, and it's funnier that it's not. He cuts their feet off and he carries them with him.
Yeah, just carrying their feet around.
Which leads to like the best screenshot of the game where folks will talk to Lune back at camp, and the screenshot is her just saying, "Feet? Really?"
They know.
Doubly funny because everybody's horny for Lune's feet.
That doesn't surprise me. I wonder what a Ricky feet rating is. My guess is with Monoco, how he's able to learn all that stuff is because, you know, the Gestrals are such a, like, they're born to fight, and maybe like when they're fighting, he observes what the enemy is doing. And then, like, you know, through some weird gestural brain magic, he's able to, like, copy it directly or something like that. But again, they don't over-explain it, which I think is the correct way to go, because kind of any explanation would just be really stupid. You know? Yeah.
I like Monoco a lot. He might be my favorite character. Well, no, I mean, Maelle's my favorite character for sure, but Monoco's still pretty good. His by the way, his battle gimmick, he is a blue mage, but he's got this wheel that he uses, and the wheel has different masks on it. Like there's the balanced mask, the caster mask, the heavy mask, the almighty mask, and each of his skills has a condition attached to it. 2 conditions attached to it. One will spin the wheel. If you use this move, it spins the wheel X number of times. The second condition says if wheel is on this mask, you get this bonus. So maybe the bonus is you apply powerful to all of your allies. Maybe the bonus is increased damage. Maybe the bonus is, you know, add shield, whatever. Very, very good. I don't pay attention to this a ton. Like, I don't plan my wheel spins. I check to see what's there. And then if it's beneficial, I'll use it. But I don't like say, okay, I need to, in 2 turns, I need to spin 4 times, so I need to use this, so I need to use that. Like, I don't think of it that way.
In a way, I think it's maybe a little bit too complicated, because you'll have all the different skills that, you know, will benefit from certain spots in the wheel, but it can be like difficult to keep track of that wheel, especially when you're only really observing it in battle. So unless you're like swapping the abilities out with him, like kind of left and right, I feel like most people aren't really going to use it to that degree. They're just going to like have the set of skills with him that they really like. And then, as you said, when you get to the spot in the wheel where it'll like, where it gives it the bonus, it's like, well, I guess I'll just use it here. And then if you don't have anything, you're like, I'll just use this because I think it works the best, you know?
Yeah. That's what I did too.
It's definitely an idea that could use some refinement in like a future game, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so. It wasn't offensive to me. I will say I did exactly what you said. I used like the same skills for 70% of the game.
Yeah.
But on a replay, so when you do New Game Plus, your character, you still have to get these characters in the story, but you can use them in battle from the start. Monoco can learn the Sakapatat's ability of fire, and it is like one of his best abilities in the game. It costs 9, but it does like 3 fires. It stacks 9 burns. It's crazy power. It's great.
Yeah.
It's one of the best abilities.
The power of the burn.
Yeah, dude, the power of the Sakapatat. Monoco is not dumb like the Gestrals. Maelle doesn't ever call him dumb. He'd probably whip her ass if she called him dumb. But he's relatively smart. Sometimes his Gestral shines through. Like in the beginning when he meets everybody, he like kind of flirts with the ladies. He's like, ladies, can I interest you in a duel? But he smacks himself in the head with his staff.
I love that trope. It's a very like Johnny Bravo kind of trope.
Whoa, mama.
Oh,
so good. So good. Yeah, I think we'll cap it here. This is pretty good progress. We're going to do 2 more episodes, 3 and 4. That's plenty of time to get through the story without feeling rushed. This is not too far into Act 2, but, Act 3 is comparatively shorter. Think like World of Ruin and Final Fantasy VI. You have opportunities to do side quests. You don't have to. But we'll pick up here next time, talking about the Grandis at Monoco Station. But until then, thank you everyone for listening. If you're enjoying this series, please consider joining the Discord server, joining the Patreon, etc., etc. We'll talk about that in a second. Frack, anything new with the 3DO podcast or any other podcasts?
Well, if I think when we did you record your guest appearance with us by the time of the first episode? Maybe?
No.
Okay. Well, for those who haven't listened to the 3DO Experience, which is my main podcast, Rick guested on an episode of that quite a while back, talking about the game Virtuoso. So y'all should go check that out, because that was a fun listen.
That game, I'm fonder of that game now that I'm looking back on it. I think it's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool, yeah. But everyone can find that for themselves when they listen to it. That's my main podcast. And at the time of recording this episode, I am early into my new side project, Call of Duty Thrack Ops. I cannot take credit for that title, where I am solo playing through basically all of the mainline Call of Duty games. Why? Why not? I like Shooty Bang Bang, and I think a lot of people in our sort of podcasting circle don't really talk about those kind of games that much, so I kind of wanted to fill that niche. So at the time of recording this, I'm about 3 episodes in. When it comes out, there'll probably be hopefully more up. So yeah, wherever you're listening to this, you can listen to the 3DO Experience and Thrack Ops. So y'all should go listen to that as well. I would very much appreciate it.
Absolutely. You can find links to Thrack Ops and the 3DO Experience in this episode description. Definitely check them out. Virtuoso was fun. If Call of Duty is your thing, check out Thrack Ops.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, please consider joining the Discord, which is free if you are enjoying the series, if you're enjoying the show. Also consider joining the Patreon, which is the best way to ensure that more of this work is created. Podcasting is, it's tough, and it would be much appreciated. You can check that out at patreon.com/pixelprojectradio. Ratings and reviews are also much appreciated. That is free, and along with sharing this podcast with your friends is the best way to show that you care. Free, it only takes a minute. You can share your feedback, and all ratings and reviews help get us higher into Al Gore's rhythm and gets us discovered by more people.
That's an inconvenient truth right there.
So with that, thank you, listeners, for sticking around to the very end. Thank you, Thrack, for joining me and devoting so much of your time.
Well, thank you for having me.
With that, we're going to leave it for today, and as they say, tomorrow comes. The next episode will come. I think that's what they meant by that. Pixel Project Radio will come again. I think that's what they meant.
Oh, thank goodness.
Signing off for now. Take care, everybody.